Okay, so Tristana, Leona, Pantheon banned away by Hong Kong Attitude. Mega respond with Renekton, Gragas, and Kiana. Rakan is first picked, and then the Xayah is picked up by Mega Esports. I think that in a spot like this, Kai'Sa's a lot better than the Ezreal. Someone just donated. Kai'Sa would be a lot better than Ezreal in a spot like this, but it's only because Kai'Sa offers more options. Even though I personally don't really like Kai'Sa Rakan. So in a spot like this, they end up going Ezreal Syndra. I really hate the Syndra. I think that if there's actually a time for Echo to come in, it would be right now, because I think that it's unreasonable to assume that Ezreal can go mid against the Echo and the Syndra can go ADC, although I do think that that would be an evolution of the draft, assuming that the ADC and mid laners were capable. You would just send Ezreal mid lane, and then you would send Syndra ADC, and I think that it would be completely fine as a means to try to ruin the Echo. Instead, we're actually going to get a Galio pick out of Mega Esports after banning away Elise and Olaf, which is really surprising, because why are you banning away Elise and Olaf as if you're scared about something? Gangplank actually made it through the entire draft, and then we have an Akali last pick. So both of these teams are actually just running at each other. Ezreal is off theme in this team composition. You can realize that he doesn't really have a clear-cut identity. Syndra, if she's not ahead, doesn't have a clear-cut identity. She's never going to kill Akali. She's never going to kill Jarvan, never going to kill Galio. She can't actually get onto Xayah. She's a sitting duck for the Nautilus. The Nautilus is already beating the Ezreal and the Rakan and making things extremely problematic. The Lee Sin's a non-factor past one item because he doesn't really have a clear kick target. He can't actually kick the Jarvan. He can't kick the Akali unless they're able to burst her with inside one rotation, but Mega Esports is on the red side, so Vision is going to be on their end to be defensive. Every member on Mega basically scales vastly superior to the opponent. The Akali creates too much problems for the Ezreal and the Syndra that Lee Sin and Rakan can't really protect, and the Gnar just doesn't serve a purpose. So in terms of draft, Mega is really, really, really far ahead. Obviously, Hong Kong Attitude, they're looking to roll Infernal Dragons and then Mountain Dragons, the Infernal Dragons first, so that they can accumulate a large enough gold lead, and then obviously picking up Mountain Dragons after that would be good. I'm going to go to the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back. No, not yet. All right. Let's see. Set. And I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it, Twitch chat. I'm going to actually hit it. Okay, I hit it. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys about draft, and I wanted to show you why you have to account for different champion picks preemptively. Like, right here, you can entertain that Soraka shuts down Karthus, right, which is probably their only out. I mean, they can do some really monkey shit by trying to send Jarvan top and then picking like Elise or something, but I mean, ultimately at that point, it's just coin flip city, right? So you always have to account for champion picks that they can still pick and then how those colors actually slide into their team comp and also works against yours and if it's good or not. Which is why I said that, like, realistically, if you can force Jarvan jungle and there's already a Lucian and you can make them pick Jace against GP and your red side, I think it's perfectly fine. You just get the Ninja Tabbies, you get Doran's Blade, you get Sheen, etc., or Phage, and the lane is just able to be won. So I personally don't like banning Jace here. I'm just showing you guys an example of how draft can actually work. I think that you should ask them to pick Jace. I think actually, like, the reason that I don't ban LeBlanc is because please pick LeBlanc. Like, please, I'm aware that you need a very heavy mage that somehow has access to Ezreal and Gangplank. You need a mage that does that. And so I'm not going to ban LeBlanc. Please pick LeBlanc. Whereas most people are like, oh, LeBlanc, she can win lane. She can get ahead. No, she fucking can't, dude. Jesus Christ. I think pro players are idiots or something. I don't even know. The prediction is that Mega win. Mega win. I'm 4 seconds late. All right, let me try to fix this then. Why does Syndra have Aerie? Because she has a lot of auto attack value against Galio. It's actually an extremely high percentage of the damage in the matchup. What would you rather Syndra have here? Dark Harvest? I guess Dark Harvest wouldn't be that bad. If you can actually farm up a couple of stacks, maybe it's not bad. Drafting's not really important in solo queue. Is Edward still here? What? Really? No, I'm okay. Really? Yeah, I'll just eat tuna rice later. Okay, bye. Can you leave the door open? It's cold. Yeah, nice. Renekton sucks. Bye. Bye, Spectrobit. Are black-red best for solo queue wins? Black's really good in solo queue. There's no logic behind the Renekton picks. The logic is that I play solo queue and I play scrims where people aren't playing as hard, and then I get ahead on Renekton, and then I can kill them every single time my slice and dice is up and they're close to me. That's literally the logic, which isn't how games are decided. Can draft knowledge be applied to Clash? The fundamentals of anything can always be applied to other stuff. It always carries over. I think if people, if like a high MMR League of Legends player spent a lot of time studying draft and either like draft in Magic is way harder than draft in like Hearthstone. But I think that if people spent a lot of time playing Magic for like 1 to 2, 3 months maybe, and they grinded a lot, I think draft would suddenly make a lot more sense. Because ultimately, the thing that I'm talking about is different skill sets that carry over from different games. One of the things that I don't like, right, is people don't realize that I'm viewing League of Legends like every unit on Hong Kong Academy is a High Templar, right? It's a High Templar from a Protoss army. So I want to know what is the best way to move all 5 High Templars around the map, and why is it necessary to do it as such? Because they're all fragile and they clearly have ideal things that they want to do. If you view League of Legends like an RTS game, it becomes a lot simpler. If you only play MOBAs and you get to high MMR and you're a pro player and you only get there by running at each other and, you know, yada, 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 then yeah, your perception of the game is going to be a lot worse. I mean, why can most players actually not off-roll? Why are most people incapable of off-rolling? And it's certainly not because of the champion picks. It's because basically a baseline understanding of the game. So a MOBA is basically a much slower RTS game when it comes to macro. And the other question is, well, shouldn't coaches know this stuff? And I've talked about this many times. No, they shouldn't, because first off, coaches in League didn't exist prior to November 2014. I mean, they existed, but not really. There was literally like half a dozen coaches that existed. Riot made a rule that said every team needs to have a coach. So suddenly 40 job slots were created. In January, every team wanted an analyst because Riot gave a stipend. Suddenly, these people that didn't have jobs before in esports are now able to have jobs. Suddenly, teams that had no idea what a coach or an analyst was, in fact, they were even misusing the terms very early on in League, suddenly now they have these coaches and analysts. Coaches have only been around for like 3.5 years in League of Legends. And in fact, a lot of coaches for the first 2 splits were actually just stand-ins. They didn't actually do anything. Devin Nash, the former CEO or something of CLG, actually talked about it. A lot of teams just basically had people that they had to register as a body to just stand on stage because Riot wanted to look more formal with their draft and stuff. So all of a sudden, you get these people that they come out of nowhere, and you ask yourself, well, why do you think that they would know anything about the game? And one of the things that it always gets me the most, right, is a lot of people will say on Reddit that my criticism of the drafts or my criticism of what pro teams should be doing and macro decisions and micro decisions is wrong because so-and-so LEC coach or LCS coach would disagree with me or they would laugh at the stuff that I'm saying. And I'm just thinking that's one of the weirdest things ever. You would never actually look at someone's title and inherently bestow upon them some sort of caliber of expertise, right? If you go to a hospital and there's 100 medical professionals inside of the hospital, obviously one of those doctors performed the worst in school. One of those doctors probably has the worst results. One of those doctors probably doesn't do a lot. There might even be someone in the hospital who's not actually a doctor, but is more well-versed in the medical field. That's just something that can also exist. People that actually know a lot about certain topics despite not having a degree. And then also people don't realize that anyone can be basically given a title. Technically, Max should have a coaching title, right, from BBQ. He should have an assistant coach title, or he should have an analyst title. What? What does that even mean? What is that? That doesn't even make sense. Suddenly, just because you're slotted onto a staff, you get a title, and people are bestowing upon you an unprecedented amount of natural game knowledge, even though game knowledge isn't linear. That's very bizarre. So the weirdest thing is when I assert certain things to be true, most people won't argue it. They'll instead try to attack me as my character, or they'll try to say that I don't explain it, even though I typically over-explain things, and then I get criticized for that, right? I use too many analogies to use comparisons to really hammer home a point, whatever. And the other really weird thing about this is that I have 5 years of evidence substantiating my claims of the highest MMRs, right? The challenger players, pro players. I don't know any other public coach or something that does freelance coaching for LCS, LEC, Challengers Korea, Challenger NA, EU West, etc. Freelance, despite these teams having stabs. That says something. Why do teams have stabs and yet this person is still being sought out for information? That's another thing in itself. But like saying that because someone has a certain title that it somehow makes what they're saying correct or something, that's the weirdest thing in the world. I actually wanted to make a video on this because it's very hard to disagree if you don't really know anything. I mean, I could sit here and I could lie to you about dynamics of the Akali-Nar matchup, and if you're not knowledgeable enough to actually understand how applicable or realistic some of the things that I'm saying are, you might not know if I'm right or wrong. And if you're a bystander and you're seeing 2 people argue, then you might not know. Like, imagine, I remember one of the really big arguments was a lot of Western players would say that, Orianna versus Zed was unwinnable way back in the day. And so if you had them argue with a random Korean player, right, and the Korean player would say that, no, Orianna can beat Zed, you might just take the pro player, or you might take the coach of a team or something that says, oh, no, Zed beats Orianna. And suddenly you believe it. But then Apto comes along and says, no, Orianna doesn't beat it. And now what do? Do you say that Apto's right because it's Apto? Well, probably. And, probably why? Well, because Apto has hundreds and thousands of hours of streamed content substantiating replays and VOD reviews and talking about stuff and blah, 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 blah. So, yes, Apto is a little bit more likely to be, correct or something. But you can take it a step further, and you can go into the replays manually and look at the actual matchups and then look for mistakes. But in order to spot the mistakes, you have to be aware of what the mistakes are. And so where it's going is that it's very easy to stalemate and run around in circles verbally on stuff that should or shouldn't happen inside of the game. And one of the things that I feel very strongly about is, why do I feel so stressed to play the game, right? Why do I feel so stressed to watch as much as I do? Why do I take, I take breaks from the game, right? But there was a point where I was working 110 plus hours a week, coaching BBQ, coaching freelance, NAEU, casting, streaming, and playing solo queue. And I feel like that is something that you should do. Oh, golly, messed up. She did not need to flash. And now she should have been able to live from Lee here, but she's not going to be able to. But I think there's an issue for people that think that all of that stuff isn't important. I think there's an issue if people think it's okay to just simply watch 8 hours of VODs or to watch solo queue streams and think that that's somehow okay. I think that there's a very big problem with that. Kali messed up really bad. Oh. Yeah. She could have lived from Lee Sin. And the reason that I think that there's a problem with it is because you wouldn't watch tons of chess videos and then say that you can talk about chess. You wouldn't watch tons of Go videos and say that you can talk about Go. You wouldn't watch tons of Super Smash Bros. Melee matches or Street Fighter V Arcade Edition or Tekken or whatever and say that you know what's going on. Because basically what I feel like is a lot of people, maybe in Street Fighter, they'll watch a lot of Ryu versus Zangief or something. I think it's considered like an unwinnable matchup, or maybe it was at one point in time. Ryu versus Zangief, and they might say to themselves, okay, well, Ryu just always beats Zangief, and there's nothing that Zangief can really do. Well, then how do you know how good the Ryu is? Or how do you know how good the Zangief is? And so it becomes this very awkward thing where you can say something that is not really that controversial. You can say something that it is right. It doesn't mean that you know why it's totally right. And a really good example of how to actually show this is to talk about matchups like, hold on, Crash is going to die. Yeah. And there's a teleport coming in. The fuck? And now they're going to try to get the bot turret. But Hong Kong Academy shouldn't be able to recover from this point in the game, realistically. There reaches a point where you can keep saying things that are very surface level, but that doesn't really talk about how much you know. And it masks what you don't know. So for instance, right? There was an analyst or a coach for a LEC Academy team that had applied for endorsed coaching, and it's not the person whose clip I played on the stream. And me and Max would go through a lot of the reviews, or we would go through a lot of the applications for endorsed coaching, right? And this is someone that has been on a team for a couple of months, and he has team experience that dates back to other stuff, right? And he's doing a VOD review, or he's doing a replay review with the player, and things he's saying about the matchup are grossly wrong. So then he keeps going on about things that are fundamentally flawed, and it's not like people can't be wrong sometimes, but it was the severity of the error in the comments. And so to us, it's another example of how just because someone has a title, it doesn't really mean anything. Now, this person as well was Master Tier. They were Master Tier on EU West, and they didn't know about stuff they were talking about. It was very, very obvious. So if a Master Tier player who's been doing this for several years doesn't know the ins and outs of something, oh, that's fucking big for them to... Oh, okay. Wait, I wasn't paying attention really quick. For some reason, they were allowed to get Infernal Dragon, which is actually really big for Ezreal Syndra and Lee Sin. But anyway, that means I should entertain Twitch chat a lot more than I do? What do you mean? No, I mean, that's basically the story. Because a lot of people try to defend things that are very practical and logical, right? Like someone would, like this all started because someone tried to defend that Lissandra has a hard time. And what it suggests is that the person doesn't understand enough about the win conditions for both teams, the likelihood of how realistic 99 out of 100, or 90 out of 100 early games and mid games are going to go, the realism surrounding the mid and top and the bot matchups and everything. And then they don't see the next step, which is how does the red team just simply not do things that are traditionally thought of as right? Like, oh, if you're winning, push, or if you're ahead, get objectives. No, not at all. If you're winning and there's a Cloud Dragon up and your team comp scale is better than the opponent, you don't take it. Because the opponent has to take it. Which means that they have to commit resources to it, which means they have to invest even more gold or time that they already don't have. So why would you take it? Well, but getting more elders getting more elemental drakes for the elder, but you're already scaling better than them. You don't need elder. Elder's a win more. Elder feels better, but you should just be able to win. Nemesis, are you here? Hello. Do you get what I'm saying? That it's like it's very easy to just say stalemate things, and unless both parties understand it, it's almost impossible to really argue it or explain it. Like, I can ask you about Lissandra in that spot, and I feel like I could also ask many, many players. I feel like I could ask many, many like high-level players, elite players, and they would agree. But there's still going to be some players that won't agree. And then if they don't agree, you have to go step by step. I think most players, of course they wouldn't. I know that's a scary thing, which is why I specified elite players would agree. And I don't even mean that as an offensive statement. I just mean that for someone to disagree, they have to fundamentally misunderstand both team compositions as well as all 10 champions. I remember one time I was doing a freelance. This was spring 2018. I was doing a freelance coaching, and there was a player that was Ornn, and I was doing the VOD review with him. His team had contacted me to do a coaching session with him and then tell them what I thought about his mentality and all this other stuff. And I remember talking to him, and I said, okay, you guys have a gold advantage here. There's no dragon, no objective, and you guys scale better. Just get Ornn items. Just get Ornn items and keep scaling. And he kept saying to me, I have to push, and we're ahead. I need to do something. Like, he kept arguing, or he would refuse to say that he should just freeze lanes or slow push lanes and not fight. And he kept saying that because his team has a lead, he needs to make to look a play. He needs to look to make a play. He needs to use his Ornnar because tempo or momentum. And it's like, no. No, it's not. The thing to do is turn off Fog of War for your team, look at the opponent, and ask yourself what they're going to do. You know, actually, I did this with Mickey X. And interestingly enough, that's when he agreed that the scaling comp was better, right? I said, if it's G2 versus G2, what is easier as well as better for you guys to play? That happened live on stream. Sometimes you have to make them go into, and I'm not talking about Mickey X in a negative way, I'm just talking about players in general. Sometimes you have to make them go into the feelings of the opponent. Why is that wrong? If you were ahead, why wouldn't you use that lead to make plays instead of just waiting and letting the enemy farm up and catch up? Because if every time the opponent gets $1, you get $1.20, you just go even. Even is winning. If you scale better, every minute that passes, the team comp that gets better increases their percentage chance to win. Doesn't matter if you give the enemy room to breathe. Why does that matter? Now, let's talk about this team composition. Okay. So, Hong Kong Attitude, they have an Infernal Drake. Their Syndra is up, their Syndra is up a little bit over 50 CS. Oh, no, now exactly 50 CS over the Galio. Okay. The Akali has Morellonomicon, so she actually has negative gold. But the Akali has Gunblade Morello. Akali will continue to buy items which actually change Akali's operation inside of the team fight, which means that Akali is going to more than just 2 items here, okay? Galio, because of the nature that he fulfills inside of the team composition, will continue to get either more durable or get more CDR or get all these other things that are just going to be really good for him. Ezreal is about to hit his final item. Ezreal is about to hit his final item, which is going to be Blade of the Ruin King. And the reason that Ezreal doesn't scale up to more items beyond this is because none of those items grant him anything to conduct himself differently inside of a team fight. Lee Sin is done scaling. Lee Sin will play every team fight from here forward basically the same way. He'll deal roughly the same damage, because now he's going to get what? He's going to get Guardian Angel? Okay. But if Lee Sin if Lee Sin is dying in GA, the fight's probably already lost anyway. It's not like he gets something out of his res. What's Gnar going to get next? Gnar doesn't get another item that changes Gnar inside of the team fight. He goes in, he jumps, he throws out his combos, and then is Ezreal and Syndra still alive? If Ezreal and Syndra are dead, nothing happens. Even if Gnar is a little bit more durable, it doesn't change that he's not doing anything anyway because he's gated by his cooldowns, which means that he's just running around getting hit, which means that he's not actually changing his role inside of a team comp. Okay. Xayah keeps going up to 6 items. Xayah will get magic resistance. Xayah will get a Guardian Angel. Those are her next 2 items, and then boots. Right? Xayah is going to go all the way to 6 items. Nautilus is basically done scaling. I mean, he can get a Knight's Vow, but realistically, It's such a, oh my god, Crash killed Xayah. Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, but that happened. And, okay. So, Gnar did his combo, and then the question is, Syndra and Ezreal still alive? And the answer is, well, Ezreal is still alive, and so is Gnar. And remember earlier, I talked about how scary the 3v3s and stuff are? And, okay, bye, Nemesis. Good luck in scrims. Tell Bippo never to pick Aatrox or Renekton, fuck. Just tell him to pick Gangplank every fucking game. Every game! So, anyways, I outlined for you guys from the draft what is likely to happen in the game. Well, where do you get the ability to outline what's going to happen? Well, how much do you understand about the champions? This is why I feel like it's very important that I actively coach solo queue and scrims and play solo queue the way that I do. I think it's very important for me to understand damage limits and how champions interact with one another and how they conduct themselves in team fights and how it feels, right? Because that's one of the really big things is how it feels, because it gives you a lot of insight into what is likely to happen at different breakpoints. So when I see people that say that like MMR isn't necessary, I used to say that MMR isn't super necessary, but I think it's an indicator of something. I think if you play hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games each season without breaks, and you can only get like silver or gold or something, there's a problem. There's a problem. Now right here, MG should take the Ocean Drake. They shouldn't take it. Well, actually, no. They can take it, but they should take it at 29-30 because they have a 50-50 chance to roll Cloud, which is ideal. 50-50 chance to roll Infernal, which is also ideal at this point. And then also it stalls the Baron. Okay. What is Chakra saying? Good. So that's what's going on. So like right now here we can see in this game that even though Syndra is being given like a needlessly large rod almost, right? Or not a needlessly large. She's being given like a blasting wand and like a longsword in terms of stats, and Ezreal is getting like a pickaxe or something, or maybe not a pickaxe, but pretty fucking close to a pickaxe. Well, actually, he might be getting a pickaxe. Even though he's getting all of this, now here's an example of bad macro. MG don't actually know what to do right now. So all that you do here is you plant Galio in mid, and then you have 4 people go top. And then Galio just ults. Because you don't actually have to play 1-3-1 or anything like that. You need to push in top, you need to push them to their turret, drag them to defend it, and then walk through the blue side jungle, clear out the vision, and then do it one more time with another wave. And then that time, you go for the Baron bait into a team fight. But you have to actually start the Baron, and then you also give Galio a natural flank that he shouldn't actually deserve. Alternatively, one thing that they could do here is they could put Xayah in bot lane and give her solo gold because she has teleport. They could actually just have Xayah split push, and they could just use one ward inside the red side jungle, and Xayah just never pushes past golems, and she can't die to anything, and that would be fine. Yeah, I don't know. So, I get very mad in League when people say things should happen when they shouldn't. And obviously, I'm not treating pro players as scripters, right? Because if I would, then everyone just needs to pick Xerath and Karthus and Victor and Ezreal and Cassio, right? But I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that this has to be done. Now, okay, look at how awful this mid game is for Hong Kong. Oh, they might win though. They might win. They might win. Lloyd. Oh my God, they actually fucked up. They fucked up. Oh my God, Gnar. Oh. Xayah ulted the wrong way. Xayah fucking ulted the wrong way. Xayah ulted the wrong way. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Mega is so fucking bad. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. You can actually see how rough. That was really good by Galio, though. Yeah, I mean, he tried his best. He tried his best. That was actually really good. So anyways, dude, Mega's fucked me twice, man. They got such better drafts, but they can't win with it. I'm getting BBQ flashbacks. God damn it. That fight was so bad. Just watch Jarvan. Watch Jarvan. Oh, look. There's no reason to come out this early. Syndra shouldn't be this deep inside the jungle. Syndra absolutely should not be that deep. This angle for Gnar should not exist. They can just do the Baron longer. They can do the Baron longer, but their side lane management is also not great, and they're also taking this fight too early. They can easily just keep scaling up, and it's not a big deal. So now they're gonna have to fight back against Baron. So this is like a big gold swing. Why does Syndra have Morello, dude? They literally have magic resistance on 4 of their fucking champions. Why do you have Morello? Yeah, anyway, I get very frustrated when people argue against the things I'm saying without actually saying anything at all. And if the difference is why do I, like, they say that it's okay because I don't explain it, and it's like, well, yeah, I do explain it. I have 5 years of YouTube videos substantiating claims and stuff. It actually should be that they should have to give me an example of what they mean to disagree with why something is the way that it isn't. And I remember a couple times I've done this on stream has always been really fun because it's educational, because it's very easy to pick apart. Well, look at how much better this draft is. But they gave up Infernal and Sabunjan. They had Ochan Goldchai and Baron Throw, really. But this team comp shouldn't lose. So easy, Akali. Akali and Israel. So easy.
They still can win.
Yeah, they still can win because their comp's better. Yeah, the team comp's so much better. Ah, you see this? Okay. This team comp. Okay. Okay. Braum. And then Gangpur, Gra, Yizi, Jaira, Threshi, and then any of these mid laners. Free win. Any of these mids. Free win.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. What can red team do?
Who picked this?
Splice. Europe. Some.
They never can team fight.
I know, and they can't. They can't 1-3-1.
They have to give up every object.
Yeah, they can't 1-3-1 because Lissandra top GP bot can't do anything. 그래서 Sakor, everyone goes Sakor. Gragas, Sangdae won't have MR, so Gragas deals true damage. Everyone's squishy. Gangplank Grasp, everyone's squishy. 어쩔 수 없어. Blue side. But pro player say Lissandra is bad to me. 어제. This comp.
Is the comp?
This comp, Lissandra.
Like maybe he just think Lissandra had to go in. But
Yeah, but that's not true.
The other champion looks like just counter champion.
Yeah, he only thinks go, go, go.
Lissandra can just poke and stay.
Yeah. Why does Galio have Morello? I'm done. This game's trying to kill me. All right. Second win on Gnar. Oh God. So I mean, it's still a game, right? This is still a game, as sad as that is. Mortal Reminder is actually really good on Ezreal. He should because you see that there's no, whatever. Well, no. What I meant to say about Mortal Reminder is that it's better than Lord Dominic's, I think, in every situation. Oh, Lloyd. What? Did you just R the fucking? Did you just R the Ezreal?
Game's over.
Oh God. Oh God. Why? I mean, I don't know why Jarvan's full tank either. By the way. All right. So my post draft predictions take a hit, but my predictions for the day is on point. All right. All right. You can just see the predictions on Twitter. Oh, man. All right. So then black, often strong power at a cost. And then blue is control. All right. This would basically be what the colors are. Let me just write this down on a notepad. All right, red. Very aggressive, naturally strong early, mid.